On a quiet night in 1986, the air itself turned deadly as an entire village died in seconds. No sound, no struggle, just 1,746 people gone. The official story reveals a silent killer lurking in places that should be peaceful: lakes. If standing nearby can end your life in under an hour, how did this happen, and could it strike again, even larger? This is the story of the lake that kills without warning. Night fell over the hills of northwestern Cameroon. In the villages around Lake Nyos, families finished their evening routines. Lamp flickered in mud brick houses, cattle shifted in their pens, and the only sounds were the distant calls of nightbirds. Then a low rumble broke the silence, deep and unsettling, like thunder rolling beneath the ground. Some villagers stepped outside, searching for the source. They saw a white mist rising from the lake, spreading across the water's surface. Within moments, the air grew heavy. People collapsed mid-step. Those who tried to run found their legs buckling, lungs burning, and vision fading. In Lower Nyos, out of 800 residents, only 6 survived. One survivor later described confusion and silence. Doors opened to rooms where entire families lay motionless, as if sleep had taken everyone at once. Cattle fell in the fields, some still tethered to posts. Chickens and goats sprawled lifeless beside them. Insects littered the ground. The cloud, 50 meters thick, rolled down the valleys at up to 50 kilometers per hour. It hugged the earth, filling every hollow and flowing into every home. No one heard screams or saw panic. The gas worked invisibly, taking life faster than anyone could react. Rescuers who arrived the next day found a landscape frozen in place. Bodies rested where sleep had come, on mats, in doorways, beside dinner fires. There were no wounds, no signs of struggle. The trees and grass stood untouched, but every living thing was gone. For those who survived, memories blurred into a haze of dizziness and darkness. Some recalled a sudden warmth, a strange taste in the air, then nothing until they awoke, hours or even a day later, stiff and alone. The stories that emerged from Lake Nyos were not of chaos or fire, but of an air that turned deadly without warning, leaving behind a silence that would haunt the survivors for the rest of their lives. Carbon dioxide, though invisible and odorless, becomes a silent killer at high concentrations. In the air we breathe, carbon dioxide makes up just a fraction of a percent. But near Lake Nyos, the gas cloud reached levels over 10%, enough to overwhelm the human body in minutes. At that threshold, every breath deepens the crisis. Blood turns acidic, the brain's control over breathing fails, and consciousness slips away. There is no choking, no struggle, only a growing heaviness followed by collapse. Medical teams treating survivors found that some woke after hours in a coma, confused and alone, with pressure sores from lying motionless. Others suffered temporary paralysis or memory gaps, but the gas left no burns or wounds, just the aftermath of oxygen starvation. What made Lake Nyos so dangerous was not just the gas, but how it was stored. The lake is what scientists call meromictic. Its deep waters never mix with the surface. Over years, carbon dioxide seeped up from volcanic rock below, dissolving into the cold, high-pressure depths. Like a bottle of soda kept sealed, the gas built up to dangerous levels, held in place by the weight of the water above. Only a disturbance, a landslide, a rush of cold rain, or a minor earthquake was needed to tip the balance. When that happened, the deep water rushed upward, pressure dropped, and the gas exploded out of the solution in a runaway chain reaction. This process, later named a limnic eruption, was little known before 1986. Michel Halbwachs, a French limnologist, led the team that sought a solution. In 2001, they installed a 203-meter plastic pipe, reaching the lake's deepest layers. The design was simple but effective. Deep water entered the pipe, rose to the surface, and released its gas in a controlled fountain. 2 more pipes followed in 2011. By 2019, scientists declared that Lake Nyos had reached a steady state. The invisible threat was tamed, not by sealing the lake, but by venting its poison safely into the air. The same method was later applied to Lake Monun, where a similar disaster killed 37 people in 1984. For Nyos, the danger was contained, but elsewhere, much larger risks remain. Lake Kivu stretches across the heart of Africa, its waters bordered by Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of Congo. At first glance, it appears serene, fishermen casting nets at dawn, children playing along the shore, hills rising green and quiet behind them. But beneath the surface, Kivu holds one of the largest natural reservoirs of dissolved gas on Earth. Scientists have measured more than 300 cubic kilometers of carbon dioxide trapped in its depths, along with 60 cubic kilometers of methane. That is over 1,000 times the gas that turned Lake Nyos into a mass grave. The scale is almost beyond comprehension. If released, the carbon dioxide in Lake Kivu would weigh about 2.6 billion tons, roughly 5% of what the world emits in a year. The methane, produced by bacteria feeding on organic matter, adds another layer of risk. Not only is it explosive, but it also supports a growing industry that extracts the gas to generate electricity for Rwanda. Around 2 million people live along these shores. Cities like Bukavu and Goma have grown into regional hubs, their lights visible from the water at night. Yet all these lives depend on the stability of the lake's deep layers. The danger is not theoretical. Sediment cores taken from the lake bed reveal a repeating pattern: thick, brown layers of organic debris sandwiched between normal mud. These layers mark times when the lake turned over, when deep, anoxic water surged upward, carrying gases that suffocated everything above. The most recent of these layers formed between 3,500 and 5,000 years ago. Others appear roughly every 1,000 years, each one a silent witness to a catastrophe that left no written record. Today, the gases continue to accumulate, fed by volcanic activity beneath the lake floor. The threat is not just in the volume, but in the evidence that this has happened before and could happen again. For the millions who live and work along Kivu's edge, the lake's calm surface hides a history written in mud and measured in lost generations. On May 22, 2021, Mount Nyiragongo erupted with little warning. Lava tore through the outskirts of Goma, setting entire neighborhoods alight and forcing hundreds of thousands to flee. 32 people died in the chaos, but for scientists watching Lake Kivu, the real danger was not the fire. The ground shook with aftershocks. Deep beneath the lake, pressure waves rippled through the water column. Each tremor raised the question, would this be enough to disturb the gas-charged depths? Engineers aboard the Kivuat power barge monitored their instruments as the sky glowed red. Their platform floats above waters holding more than 1,000 times the gas that devastated Lake Nyos. The plant extracts methane from the deep layers, supplying Rwanda with 26 megawatts of electricity, enough to power a small city. But the scale of extraction is dwarfed by the size of the threat. At current rates, less than 5% of the lake's methane will be removed in a quarter century. The carbon dioxide remains almost untouched. The 2021 eruption did not trigger a limnic event, but the warning was clear. Nyiragongo sits only a few kilometers from the lake's northern shore. Its eruptions send shock waves through the region, shaking the very foundation of Lake Kivu. Seismic activity, landslides, or an intrusion of magma could all act as the spark. The gas is there, waiting in silence, needing only a disturbance to be unleashed. Limnologists, scientists who study lakes, have sounded the alarm. One expert put it plainly, "For sure, this speed cannot be considered sufficient to really decrease the risk of limnic eruption." The extraction project, while innovative, is a fraction of what is needed to make the lake truly safe. With 2 million lives at stake, the margin for error is vanishingly thin. Each passing year brings new people to Kivu's shores, drawn by fertile land and the promise of power. But the invisible danger beneath the surface grows, undiminished, as the world waits for a solution that matches the scale of the threat. Today, 2 million people live within reach of Lake Kivu's silent threat, an invisible force 1,000 times more powerful than Neos. As science works to tame what folklore once feared, the danger remains real. Sometimes, the deadliest disasters are the ones you never see coming. Stay curious and stay cautious.